Good morning. Today is Sunday, April 27th, 2025, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast. Looking at where Bitcoin went in last week and where it could potentially go in the future. Bitcoin has been on a tear this month. As you can see, we're closing out. This is the last full week of the month this past week. We got a couple more days up till Wednesday, and then we go into May. But this has been a great month for Bitcoin overall. I mean, we saw it go down to lows of 75 and now recover all the way up to 93. And then pushing back towards this $100,000 mark, this key $100,000 mark. So eventually we have to get through these levels and burst through those. But I see that coming. There's a lot of positive momentum on the way, and sometimes that takes time to catch up. But all things are good there. Everything was great. So really, if we look at the parabola at a certain point, like we see it's this very smooth, like kind of move up to the top here, and it bounces off this area. So taking a look here, this month has been great overall for April, and I just think we're going to continue that on into May. So not too much else to talk about there. We kind of got to this level of 93,000 at this point, 93, 94, where there's been like historic support and resistance right here. The next one that you're going to have to get over is that 100,000 and then breaking this all-time high. But once that starts happening, then stuff is going to shoot off very quickly. And I think we're kind of in that regime now to where things start to move in pretty quick. Okay, so on the weekly chart, you end up having a few things. So we broke out of this range bound area at the bottom. We had like a big swoop right here. Broke out of this range bound area, and now we're moving back up to the upside. So like this is the confirmation week for me, really. So like we see that we had this whole week where we broke out here. Probably will have some type of retest and then continue on, but we'll see how that ends up going. It just depends on what happens in the next week. We do have a couple important decisions for interest rates and whatnot, but we'll see how that looks later on. So again, kind of like what I said right here, this will be a little bit of a resistance area. I could see that happening for a little bit. Like I said, maybe a pullback before continuing upside, but the overall direction is up. Yeah, we're kind of done with this whole area down here. Like I said, we pretty much bottomed out at this point at the beginning of April. And it's good to see that was actually the case. So let's turn on the drawings real quick, see where we're at. One thing that I look at is we're above the short-term holder realized price. Let's take a look here. I want to see how long some of these time frames were. So if we look like from here to here, price was in a range for 532 days. And if I look from here, let's say this candle all the way to this candle, then price was in a range for 217 days. So 500 some days down to 217, that's quicker. And then we do it one more time. So if we come here and we say 147 days, down from 200 something days. At that point, that it tells me that this is just a faster and faster cycle. So 500 to 250 to 150, that just keeps on speeding up. And now we see that we're at the point now where we've broken out of this area, broken out of that area, and then you get out of this flag, and then you break out of that area, and then you break out one more time, and then you get up here. So this is exciting. It's definitely exciting to see that this has come and broken out of this bull flag, but it's also cool to see that these cycles are getting shorter too. So you end up moving up here. I mean, this is where you can really capture some profits on the upside. Get through all this traffic right here, and once that happens, it's really going to rip. Really going to rip from probably 119 to 150 in pretty short order. It'll get to 150, and then jaws will drop. Jaws will definitely drop for sure on that one, especially with some of the big announcements that'll be coming in during that period too. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff for Bitcoin on the horizon. Okay, let's take a look at the daily chart. Scanning out a little bit. Really, you just have like this overall downward trend. It couldn't break out of this red box, but now finally we've got a pretty strong break out of the red box, and it got above the short-term holder realized price. So that price is important. It's above all the moving averages. We see like this white line is curving up. As soon as that crosses, well, that's a golden cross, and it should continue on into this direction. So that's a good thing to see. Like we see that it really couldn't get above the moving average for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Going all the way back to February, really. This major drop in February, and then this run up. So like I said, get above the short-term holder realized price. break 100,000. You have to break this this white line too. That's going to be important. And once you break that, get above the current all-time high, that 109, and it's going to be off to the races. It's going to be off to the races, people. That much I am excited about. So, and then the other thing, we were at the bottom of this channel too. I talked about this red channel. We were at the bottom of this green upward channel. So that's what gave me confidence to say that this was the bottom here. That this was the bottom just because, again, you came to the bottom of this channel, the bottom of this channel as it moved up. So those kind of intersected, and it really sent price. So that's good to see. Good to see that there's some type of confluence there, along with the fact that you had this all-time high. So these are really good signs. And really, all I need here is a confirmation, maybe by retesting the area, so we can actually officially break out. So once you start getting above 122, things are gonna get quick. It's gonna move very quickly, as many people dogpile in. So, really, I mean, there wasn't too much else to talk about on the charts. Like, this week was actually pretty boring. From the start of the week was cool. Like, Sunday through, let's say Tuesday, it came out the gate pretty strong, but then the rest of the week, it, just kind of ranged, and we see it ended up in the same area that it started in. Yeah, that's probably it for the chart. So let's look at a couple things. I want us to look at the news this week. It's a very labor intensive week, but also you have a hidden Bank of Japan policy rate in there. This is going to be big. Because they are slowly churning up their interest rates. They've held for 2 months, well, 2 past cycles. So January, March, and then May is another decision. So every other month. And I'm of the impression that they could hike. Now they're projecting a rate hold, but again, they do that at a certain point. They're projecting, but it has to break it. Like, they projected here, and then it broke up to the upside. So. Japan is in quite a situation right now where there's a bit of a reverse yen carry trade. It is getting stronger against the U.S. dollar, but we'll see. We'll see how that ends up playing itself out. Right now, the USD Japanese yen pair is at 140 yen per dollar, which is historically pretty weak, especially considering it just came from 168. But we'll see. This is going to be an important decision here. This will be an important decision for the Bank of Japan. And other than that, you got non-farm payroll, non-farm employment change. There it is. So yeah, you end up taking a look at this area right here. 228. They're projecting all of this. What is this? They had an overshoot last time, and now they're forecasting 129, which is pretty much in line with what their previous forecasts were. So yeah, that one will be not as important, but I do believe that the Bank of Japan decision will be quite interesting. That'll take some precedence for real, and it will send shockwaves either way. A lot of people are kind of waiting with bated breath on that one. And then the following week, you have the Feds, the Federal Reserve, making a decision on interest rates. A potential rate drop here. They're going to hold at least, and then they're going to drop likely. They held an emergency meeting in April, and that does not really happen. That only happens once every, I think it happened in 2008. It happened in 2020. It happened in 2001. So all years where major financial events were happening, and I think this is could be shaping up to be one. But we'll see. Like, time will tell. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. But positive for crypto, the SEC chair, the newly appointed SEC chair, Paul Atkins, says crypto innovation has been stifled, and as regulators push for change. So he was recently appointed as the SEC chair and got confirmed within the last couple weeks. And he is very pro-crypto at this point. Says that America really has been stalled for years, especially under the Gary Gensler regime and him not really advancing crypto at all over a 4-year period and fighting it at tooth and nail. So it's interesting to see that we're having such a political shift. Normally, I don't really get into the politics of money, but this time it is important. For this season, it is important because these shifting ideas and shifting sentiments and shifting politics, they do affect the price, realistically. But overall, the journey is up. You follow the trend, and we see that we've been able to do that for quite some time. So The only other thing that I did see that was important this week was 21 Capital. This is a new venture that it's basically a Bitcoin company. They're maximizing Bitcoin ownership per share, basically in this 21 company. So we're really seeing kind of the financialization of Bitcoin. It was inevitable. It was going to happen. They're using a similar strategy to MicroStrategy. And that's the thing about it. I've been saying it for years. Anyone can do what Michael Saylor is doing. No, it's just not that many people have done it yet. So we're seeing companies like Bitcoin do it. We're seeing companies like MicroStrategy, now called Strategy, do it. And now we're seeing like companies like 21 that are doing this. And they're backed up by big names like Cantor and Tether and SoftBank. All these other ones, these other big financial firms that are backing 21. So there's a lot of corporate adoption for Bitcoin. There's political adoption for Bitcoin. There is price action now to where it's moving and breaking out. It's just really good. These are really good times for Bitcoin for sure. And as well as the broader crypto market. So, I mean, we've suffered that kind of 4-month drop, that 150 days or so. But we'll be on the other side of it. We will be on the other side of it soon. And I'm definitely excited to see what this could hold. So if we're following that pattern, the next drop should be shorter and we should start seeing sharper and sharper drops as time goes by. And that's what I'm really expecting as supply kind of drains. So we'll see. We will see. Again, this is 21 Bitcoin. I would look them up. They have some really interesting stuff for sure. This is kind of a Bitcoin arms race, as I've been saying. Like, it's you're going to see a lot more competition come into the space, and Bitcoin will get more and more scarce. And speaking about that, so this is the exchange reserve for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin exchange reserve on all exchanges. Let's take a look at that. We see it's been dropping. This has been dropping since, let's take a look at this here. This is 2022. Nothing really happened. You went to the bear market pretty much. And then in January of 2024, you ended up having the Bitcoin ETF. And that's when things started to go down. From there, you had the Bitcoin halving in April. And you see things started to accelerate even more. There were less and less Bitcoin. So from here on, there were only half as many Bitcoin as there were over here. Going into the exchanges or being mined every day. So you see this sharp drop that we've had, and this just continues to drop. So it's actually probably even lower than this at this point because like this data, the purple line is a 1-month lag. So it's 1 month behind the price, the current day pretty much. So they take into account everything and then they get you an accurate number within a month. So at this point, Bitcoin is the Bitcoin on exchange is continuing to drop, and you're seeing price start to continue to rise. So these have an inverse relationship. So as this purple line drops, this black line, which is price, is going to increase. So it's pretty good. It's pretty cool to see that and to see it in real time. To see real supply and demand in real time is interesting. A good thing to see. So. Last thing I'll talk about is the Bitcoin reserve risk. So basically, it's an indicator that allows you to see the confidence on long-term holders pretty much. So long-term holders, they really are holding at this point. So this Bitcoin reserve risk, it takes into account a lot of different aspects of Bitcoin. Maybe I'll make like a longer video on this. We'll see. But as you can see, you don't have to go into the depths of it, but really just to see that, okay, well, when we're in a green area, it's usually a good time to buy. We get back in the green area, and then price shoots off again. And then we get in the green area here, price shoots off. So we see that we've been in this green area for quite some time, meaning that, in my opinion, price has kind of been suppressed. I can be real. I'll be honest here and say that there is like this kind of trend line that's going on this. So you may see more time in this green time, this confidence area, as more people, again, get confident in Bitcoin. But we'll see how that ends up playing out, what the reserve risk is. And it just seems like it's a good time to buy consistently. This bull run, I don't think has really taken off into its full legs. We're going to see a short squeeze of sorts of this over the next maybe year or so, but really probably going into the end of this year. So I think that's it. I don't have too much else to talk about. This has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out any crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com. And other than that, I will see y'all on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.